Hello everyone, I'm Joy and today I'm going to share with you the recipe on how I make this delicious beef broth. Hello everyone, I'm Joy and welcome to Food Simplicity and Vitality. This is a food and lifestyle channel where we cook together and we stay well together. Now today it's my pleasure to share with you this recipe on how I make this delicious beef broth. Now this beef broth is so good for those of you who are looking after your tummy health. It's full of goodness and it is a staple for me, and I always try and drink some of this after I've worked out. So if you want to see how I've made this recipe, keep watching. Okay, so these are the ingredients we'll need to make the beef bone broth, and I've set them out clearly on the right hand side of the screen for your information. Organic beef stock bones are the first ones, and we've got some carrots. I'm using parsnips. I've got the thyme, spring onions there, white onions also, and I've got the organic apple cider vinegar, which helps to bring out the flavors and nourishment from the bone. And I've got 2 liters of filtered water. So as I said, the organic beef bones are probably the best ones to use, because you know that the farmers are using all the right things to feed their animals. At least that's what I think anyway. So 1 kilogram is what you need. I'm going to bake them first of all. This helps to bring out the flavor more before we start to boil them. So I've got a tray and it's got olive oil on it, and that's a personal preference. I'm laying the bones out on the tray like so, and I'm going to lightly season them and then put them in the oven to bake for about 20 minutes. And as I said, I'm just putting a little bit of salt and black pepper, and I'm also going to just leave them just like that, and I'll show you what they look like once they've been baked. Now I bake these for about 200 degrees. I'm roughly chopping the onions there, no particular method, just chop them in a way that they're going to fit in your pot nicely. And I'm cutting these roughly as well. These are the carrots, then the parsnips, and that helps to give it that flavor that I like, but you can use your own vegetables. Spring onions there, that's nice. Leave those, set those aside until we're ready. Now you can see that I've taken out the bones and this is what they look like. I'm now going to use my crock pot to do the cooking, and what I'm doing first of all is placing the bones in the crock pot like that. I've discarded all the oil and just putting the bones in the bottom, the base of the crock pot. Then I'm adding all my vegetables, onions first of all, and then all the carrots, parsnips, leaving that, putting the fresh thyme on top, adding my water, and again I've used 2 liters, and this is enough stock to last me about 7 days if I have one every day. And the filtered water is probably the best water to use, but make sure you fill it up, not right to the top, but enough to give you the stock. And once you've done that, guys, we're going to leave this to cook for 20 hours. Yes, guys, 20 hours. But don't forget to add your apple cider vinegar. I'm putting 2 tablespoons in, and this helps to take the flavor out of the bones even better. So yes, cover this, and I'm giving it just a little bit of a mix there, closing that, and you'll see that with my crock pot, I've got my timer there. I'm cooking it on low. The symbol on the right indicates it's on the low setting, and the arrow going up is the timer. So I'm pressing away 16, 18, 19, 20 hours, that's it. And it automatically starts. And so that's how it goes. And look, with about 5 hours to go, this is what it's looking like. This is the next day, by the way. I'm stirring it a little bit, looking to see what I've got, and I can see I've got some nice broth going there, and it hasn't reduced at all much, but if it does, you can top it up with some more filtered water. But the idea is to have as much broth as you can. Now that looks absolutely lovely. Now 20 hours later, guys, we're ready to do the next stage. So by this time it's finished, and I've left it to cool. I've turned off the crock pot, and now I'm going to take out all these bits that has cooked out now, the bones, and put it in a sieve to one side, and I'm going to discard the bones. Might try and see if my neighbour's dog might want the bones, but usually I just discard them, put them in the bin. But yes, you take them out, and all the vegetables are coming out as well, and I'm just showing you very quickly just how I'm taking those out there, like so. And then after we've got all of our bones and vegetables out, then the idea is just to leave the liquid behind, and all this, as I said, is going to be discarded and set to one side like that. And then we're left with the broth. Now I've got a sieve, and I'm going to strain my broth, get rid of all the excessive bits, including any fat that's floated to the top, any bits left over. I've sieved that out, so I've got a nice smooth beef broth going on there. All this, you can see, I'm going to discard, leaving the broth like this, which I will now leave to cool for about 2 to 3 hours, and then I'm going to refrigerate it overnight. It will congeal, and then it will have the fat on top, which I'm going to take off, discard, and then jar them all up. So I'll show you the next stage. So the next day, it's come out of the refrigerator, and you can see I'm using a little spatula to lift off the top, which is the fat that's formed on the top. Now this part we don't need, but we also now know that we have some nice pure broth going on. And so yes, everything comes out. This is what it looks like, and that's the bit you don't need. And take out every little bit of it, so that we're just left with the broth there. It looks nice, and you can see I'm mixing it through. And this is all the goodness, the richness that's going to go to help your tummy. So I've got a jar here, I've got a mason jar there, and you can see I'm actually pouring in the broth. And I'm probably going to go halfway up the jars, and this 2 litre will give me about 7 jars, and that will mean I have 7 days of broth. And as I said, I do try and make this at least once a week. Now you do put them in the fridge, and they last about a week, even more. I've got one, and I've got my little straw, and you do heat them up as you need them on a day-to-day basis. One is enough for a day, and so yes, store them nicely in your fridge. And yes, if you like beef broth, this is the answer. Hello everyone, I hope you enjoyed watching that video on how I made this delicious beef broth. I try to have some of this in the fridge whenever possible so that I can have it as a post-workout drink. Now it really does soothe my stomach and set me up for a delicious lunch. Now guys, speaking of exercises, I want you to know that as of next week, I will start my new exercise program. For those of you who are regulars to my channel, you know that we alternate between cooking and exercising. Now I've just finished a series of cooking and we're going straight on to exercising. So I hope you will join me so that we can stay strong together. So I hope to see you next week. In the meantime, take care and have a lovely day.